In this K2 quick brief, I'm going to go over the K2 Workdesk and how you can leverage it for sales organizations to create a single, intuitive, all-in-one interface that your Salesforce can use to rapidly close business, automate the whole process, and really make their day-to-day lives more efficient. So let's start out by opening up a browser. In this particular example, I'm actually going to log into my K2 Workdesk, which is a URL that can be accessed through any browser. And I'm going to log in as Barry, who's one of our sales reps. And for those of you who aren't familiar with K2, we're a business process automation, no-code business applications platform that allows you to build really amazing solutions for your business. We've got 4 pillars: forms, workflow, data, and reports. And in this demo, I'm actually going to show you a K2 Smart Form that's been modified into a sales workdesk. So really this workdesk becomes a digital briefcase that can be leveraged by your Salesforce on any device, whether it's their laptop, their desktop, maybe they're out in the field on their iPad. And what they've got are all the different links that they need to accomplish their day-to-day tasks and get their job done. So when I first open the Workdesk, I'll see any tasks that have been assigned to me through workflows. So maybe sales management wants to use K2 to send out pricing changes and get a positive affirmation that they've signed off on the changes. I've got dashboards, forms, I've got some marketing, some links. I've got applications for doing things like leave requests and expense claims that once again are built on the K2 platform. And then a little document management system, which I'll show you as I go through the demo. So let's kick off the interactive portion by coming in and clicking on a form. So Barry's actually out in the field. He's got a customer that wants to submit a new order, and he clicks on the service agreement link on the left-hand side, and it opens up a K2 Smart Form. So what he sees is a digital representation of the form, and we've already auto-populated some of the fields like salesperson and agreement date. And then I'm going to show you the real power of K2 forms. So a K2 Smart Form allows you to tap into multiple back-end business systems. So the customer name field, as I start to type, is actually going to talk to my CRM system, whether it's Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics CRM. It does an automated lookup, brings back the customer information, the address, the city, all that info, so the sales rep doesn't have to type it. Okay. Now, when I come to the location, I'm going to interact with a SQL database of my operations system. So I know that Anaheim is where Blue Yonder is located, and it runs a lookup and brings back the routes that are appropriate for that city or location. Okay, if I changed it, it would bring back different routes for that particular city. So you can see a lot of the automation, once again, makes filling out this form quick and simple. It reduces errors from a data entry perspective. You can have validation in here that checks to make sure that things are entered correctly. And you can even apply business rules. So I've got my ship to, maybe I want to copy over my bill to information. When I check the box, it does that for me automatically. And as I scroll down, you can see there's different sections in this form. Now in K2, a section is called a view. And this view can be built once and used over and over and over. So for example, this customer information section is applicable to my credit app as well as a service agreement. So I can reuse it on different forms to speed up the ability to get those forms out and not create additional work. So in this example, let's come into the order section. When I add a new row, you can see it auto adds a line number for me. And if I click on the product list, it's going to bring back a product listing from my product database. So let's say that this particular customer wants flat front navy pants. Okay. When I click on the item, it auto fills in the line item for me. So it brings the code, the name, the color. I can type in the size. I could even automate the size chart as well if I wanted to. And then I'm going to start to do some fancy things. So as I start to type delivery quantities, it's going to go ahead and do some summation for me. So it's adding up the delivery quantities for a total inventory. It's taking that quantity and multiplying it times the unit price and giving me a line total. And when I click save, it's actually going to add up all the different lines that I have and give me a sum as well. Once again, all done with no code really quickly in the K2 platform. So let's come in here, we'll type a note. So this is a great customer. I can come in, I can do initials. So on the iPad, we have some controls where you can do a finger signature. We've got an integration with DocuSign. So if you wanted to do digital signage with your customers, where they actually sign the documents from a DocuSign perspective, you can do that as well. When I'm all done and I click the submit button, in the background, K2 is going to transfer this information into a workflow, notify operations, notify the particular location. We can update line of business systems. We can auto trigger invoices from an accounting system. And the other piece that we've done, we've actually created a digital copy of this form in a PDF. And I'll actually show that to you. If I come into sales orders now, I've actually archived that form for later reference. So I can send it off to the customer. I've got the ability to archive it. In this case, I actually archived it into SQL, but I also have the ability to archive it into SharePoint. In the future, I'll have the ability to put it into Box. And I can open this up and have it for reference. And you can see here, this is a digital copy of that particular form. Okay. I've also got the ability, if I come in here, you can see on the left-hand side, I've got an order status link. Probably one of the most challenging things being a sales rep is constantly trying to figure out where the order is in the process and how the process is moving along. With K2 and our workflow engine, we actually track that. And you have the ability to build a workflow status link where they can check the status of the order without having to call multiple people to find out when it's going to be delivered. And then with K2, we've also got a visual report called the view flow. And the view flow is actually a graphical representation of the workflow and where it sits from a task perspective. So you can see I've kicked off the process. I sent out email notifications, maybe to the customer and the rep. And right now, if I double click, you can see that Cody from operations actually has this in her inbox for review. All right. Now, this was just built for demo purposes. I have the ability to update sales, maybe send notifications to the loading dock, and pretty much the sky's the limit um, from a workflow perspective on how you can actually build this out. Okay. So let's look at some other things. So that workflows processing, I'm not going to go through all the different details and process that. Hopefully you get the concept. But some of the other things that I have in here, I've actually built a little marketing dashboard where the salesperson can have access to new videos. Maybe you've got a marketing materials library. You can come in here and actually um, do searches. So if I enter that, I could do a search for all my case studies and see the links. I've got the ability to add additional links. One of the challenges when you bring new sales folks on board is giving them access to all the different resources that they have. With this Workdesk or digital briefcase concept, you have the ability to add different links here for them so they've got everything at their fingertips. Okay, I've already shown you the sales order. And then you've also got the ability to add additional K2 apps. So we've got a number of applications that are pre-built that you can deploy out of the box called app accelerators. You can have leave requests. You have the ability to build out expense claims as well. Okay, so you've got a bunch of different options here that you can build into this sales work desk. Also got the ability to leverage the mobile platform. So really quickly, if I can go ahead and turn on my iPad here and give you an idea, K2 Forms can be rendered not only on desktop browsers, but you've also got the ability to uh, surface the same exact form in our mobile platform. So you've got the ability to come in here and enable your mobile Salesforce as well with the same type of form out in the field. Okay. So that's a quick overview of all the things you can do with K2 to enable your Salesforce and really add value to what they do on a day-to-day basis. If you have any questions, give us a shout at k2.com. Thanks.